All right, welcome. Happy Sunday. Excited about today's phone call. I got my phone on sideways because I was running out of percentage. So hopefully you guys can see me okay. And I wanted to start the conversation off with, everybody in this group is definitely fighting a difficult battle, right? I don't want to glaze over the fact that, what the reason we all know each other is because we have PD in common, right? You guys all have Parkinson's disease and you're fighting a difficult neurological war, a difficult body composition war. And I think it's relevant to think about that and to put little bit of a little bit of mindset into that. And I would kind of describe it like this: if I had PD, how would I approach that? And that's why that book, Empire of a Summer Moon, it's kind of about a yearly read for me. Oshi, can you go shut the oven off and open the oven? It's about a yearly read for me. And the reason is this: because you get to see the human struggle at such a visceral way as it filters out of the pages, right? Like, the human journey is fraught with difficult struggle. And the best we can do, no matter our circumstances, whatever hand we're dealt, whatever we can do is we can put our very best foot forward using the best strategies, right? Yeah, just leave it open. I'll come grab it for you in 1 second.
They don't knock my class down either.
So humans assemble as tribes, whether you're a Comanche warrior in 1860 or you're a Parkinson's disease warrior in the year 2026. Humans assemble together and they work on difficult things over long time horizons. So I'm blessed to know all of you and get to endeavor on the journey, because this, it reveals the strength of the human condition in the difficulties. So I wanted to touch it off with that, and just, you got to pat yourself on the back, and you got to touch base frequently with your spirituality, and remind yourself about the why, right? Why are you doing these movements every day, and why are you going through the effort? And personally, when I really do a good job of finding the why, then I feel that joy. And a thing, I mentioned this, I think it's been a while since I mentioned this, but you're tracking sleep and steps, and you're tracking all these things, thinking about them. But let me ask you, when's the last time you had involuntary laughter, right?
Oh boy.
Or
Gosh.
you felt joy. And that's coming from a guy who went through enough absolute existential dread, life rebuilding. For me, 10 years ago, I found myself at a spot in life where I knew my entire life I built had to be completely broken down and start again. But the reality is, once I knew that and I started to build, it actually took me 3 years living the same lifestyle where I couldn't deal with the problem. So I've been in deep lows, right? And I know now that, like, how happy I am, I can really measure by how much involuntary laughter I felt, and how much joy has crept into my life. And on a practical level, for me, it would be, honestly speaking, probably once or twice a month for both. I usually work for several weeks before I'll feel my body
Jeremy,
naturally
just let them sit,
decompress.
okay?
I'll feel my body
Yeah, just
naturally.
let them sit. Let's get
The
moving.
priority is moving, love. We can wash dishes later.
Oh, we got to get.
Thank
If
you.
I might have to, if you guys have sound in your background, just put it
Yep.
on mute. Just go ahead and put it on mute. See if I can mute everybody
Yeah, you
in
can
one.
go ahead. You can
Oh, I can do that.
I think he's hungry. If you're hungry, you can eat more.
I like to, when I'm doing things, I like to lightly snack because I get lethargic and slow.
Oh, there we go. I got it muted. I don't know who that was, but that's okay. I can pick it up right where I left off. So that involuntary laughter component, right? How much joy you're feeling. Yeah, how much laughter, how much hope and excitement you have for your future. And if you're doing a good job in your steps every day and you're doing a good job at your work, your energy will ultimately get higher. So on that note, we will get into this PDF that I posted up. And the first one is a 365-day schedule, right? So we tend to imagine a plan ahead, and this is kind of just an overview of it. So I'll go through each phase. I broke it out into 4 phases, and then I'll kind of give it a little bit of 2 cents. And then if you guys have any questions at all, just raise your hand in the group chat. So like I'm trying to communicate and educate you guys this on a macro thinking level, right? So if you look at an optimized yearly routine, the phase 1 would be, those first 40 days, you're doing a 2-day, a 9-day refeed, another 2-day fast, an 8-day refeed, and a 72-hour fast, and then a refeed, and then you finish off with a 4-day, right? So at the beginning of a year, you want to get into quite a bit of autophagy in the first 2 months, right? You want to kind of roll in and out of fasts at the beginning of a year. But you also want to pay deep attention to like the little smart things you can do when you break a fast, for example, breaking it for a day of 80 or 90% fat. Like that's actually an important thing to do because one of the guys in the group, Mr. Guy Lister, he just did his third 5-day fast. And he reported this last one was much easier to get through. So what you're seeing with him, you're seeing his metabolic conditioning really, really transform at a base level. But it took a couple months. He was a guy who expected to feel it right away. And I actually thought he would because he's very lean and he has lots of muscle on him. But you can always be surprised with ketosis, right? So this one kind of just walks you through. Phase 1 is about 41, 42 days. And then, if somebody was brand new and you really just wanted to get right down to the nuts and bolts of it, what would you do for those first 40 days? Honestly, it would just be morning burpees and afternoon air squats. That's it. I'm starting to get more experience as I see more people exercising because there are such specific problems in the PD body composition, like muscle laxity, the ability to produce like quick, spontaneous, graceful movement, right? But then the other thing on the positive side with PD, and I thank God for this all the time, is, in practice, when you work on stuff, you see it improve. So I always thank God for that because, for example, Delbert, he's just attempting to do these jumping from 2 foot onto 1 foot, right? And I watched him do it. He sent me a video the other night, and you almost break down and cry because his movements are, again, they're a bit childlike, right? If you watch a 1-year-old who's only been walking for a month try to do that, when I had kids, I would try to get them to mimic my jump. So when they're 1 and you do like a 2-foot jump past them, they'll attempt it, right? They're just completely open for exploration, but they don't have the muscular control yet. Nothing's really built. So it looks awkward and it looks clumsy and in comparison to a really athletic movement, but it does improve, right? So with that being said, you can get improvement, so you don't have to get right into the skills right away. You really just want to affect 2 components over 2 months. You'd want to affect the burpees because it's going to be your greatest range of motion builder the fastest, getting down to the floor and standing up, because you can add skills to it progressively, right? But this is coming from a guy like I wouldn't consider myself a straight up burpee machine. Like there's a land of burpees that I'm not in, with guys doing like really crazy style of burpees at high reps super fast. But I'm just below that level. I can smash burpees at 46 till the sun doesn't shine anymore, right? And one of the reasons I can do that is I realized what an incredible fitness builder it is. And I spent several months doing a shit ton of them. So can't really, if you need more exercise, you can do more burpees. And they can take you really, really far over the long term. The other one I would do would just be afternoon air squats. So the squat, if you imagine that you did your first squat on day one, and unless you're like, Steve's a really good example of this, because when he first did a squat, he had very limited core muscles. So he folded forward at the chest. And now he can squat quite lovely. He has a nice squatting technique, and he's going to be able to build. He's going to be able to build off of that more complex movements that actually some of the complex movements is what solves certain symptoms right at the symptom layer in the muscle, right? Like how could you literally train if you had like a perfect sequence of movements? If you knew the perfect sequence of movements, could you theoretically get rid of a tremor only with exercise, right? I would say it's probably a yes, but good luck finding that, because it's such a vast sea, right? There's endless movements in an endless landscape. And you got to pick where to do them and how to fuel it. It's super complicated, right? But you see when you get in the right catalog of movements that people's gait and shuffling can be really dramatically fixed over the long term. So I'll move into phase 2. And again, this is looking at it like if none of us had ever met, we just met yesterday, and you trusted me and you said, I want to hear what this guy has to say. And I gave you my very best 365-day recipe to fix this, right? This is what this is trying to be. So I would tell you that phase 2, you should be establishing your circadian rhythm. Your goal would be to build metabolic conditioning while syncing your daily rhythms, right? Getting comfortable when you eat, getting comfortable routinely eating, right? And that diet, it's going to be, it would have to be a 95% animal based, meat, eggs, sardines, butter, eat as often as desired, no calorie limits. It's easy to get the fasting. And something I've learned also, it's like, we can get enough fasting for the recomposition model. That's the easy part. But like, more than the fasting, it's about achieving the correct carbohydrate frequency. So then you imagine, and that's like the second part of this call, we're going to get into that. But so we're going to imagine as a 95% animal based, right? And in the phase 2, you would want to include 1 5-day growth hormone fast in that. But you would want that style of fast to be this. If you had never done cold water, you would pick that fast to do your first cold plunging. If you had never taped your mouth, you would do it during that fast. You would really try to clean up your program, so you're trying to collect all the little healing benefits, right? Like a red lamp, I actually just bought a red lamp. I have to go pick it up. And I tend to get enough sunshine, I think. But I'm going to attempt this red lamp and try to lay under it during the winter months and see if it affects. But the point is, you really want to use all the healing arsenal at your disposal, right? All the simple stuff, making sure you're doing it all. And then in that metabolic conditioning month, you would want to exercise 4 to 6 sessions a week. I'm a big proponent of a rest day, but in my rest days, I just do a few push-ups and a few pogo jumps, right? I'm not putting stress into my system. I let it rest. Sometimes I need two. If I go real heavy, it can even be three sometimes. You got to pay attention deeply. Pay attention to when you need to rest. There's like a little side note here. You know, I have a responsibility. I can't injure anybody. And I have to make sure that nobody over exercises and gets into adrenal fatigue. Right. I think a lot of people are starting to come onto this concept of just how much exercise is necessary for PD. And so because it's a time horizon problem, you want to approach it with a charming manner where you prioritize sleep and you just dig a little harder in the days you work out. You know, there's a metric in there that everybody's going to have to figure out for themselves, and it's going to be different for everybody. And I've seen people who've exercised themselves into adrenal fatigue, and we don't want to do that. I would say on this call, there would probably be a couple of dudes on this call who might do that. But again, you know, we have very resilient systems because we're in ketosis so much. And the only person I saw go into adrenal fatigue was literally drinking pre-workouts. He was doing 20 milligrams a day of creatine. He was running he was a high-level CrossFitter. He was on one of my CrossFit teams when I competed. And, you know, he came into CrossFit as a semi-pro rugby player. So he'd ran that system so hot that by the time he hit 35, he basically, his doctor said, you have to stay out of the gym for 2 years. It was 2 years, they told him. And as I know him, he did it. And, you know, he lost all his testosterone. He put on a bunch of weight. So he got fit in the wrong way, right? He got fit in the wrong way. So pay attention to that. We don't really have to worry about that. We got bigger fish to fry, but I wanted to mention it. So again, in phase 2, you know, we'd be coming off phase 1, which would have had a lot of burpees in it. So then we can start to express some of that foundational fitness that we put in. But again, you're going to want to maintain. You're not going to want to drop off your burpees, squats, and push-ups. You definitely, like, the push-ups is, a lot of people have their shoulders or arms are too weak still to do proper push-ups. But listen, any push-up is a proper push-up. This is not the form Olympics, right? Whatever form we have is where we perform from. But yeah, push-ups is a foundational movement that everybody should be good at. It's an easy way to get super fit. So definitely by phase 2, you'd want to be adding those in. And then light jumping, kettlebell swings, dowel, and rod drills, right? Emphasizing form and movement principles, posture, breathing. Okay, so on this note, Gavin brought up a good point. It's like, how do we learn all this, right? So what we're going to do on the Friday call, next Friday, is we're going to watch an online video. Like, we're going to watch a video of the best snatch coach in the world coaching the Olympic snatch. I'm going to get you to hear from another coach on it because we're trying to learn all these movements and how to link them together. And a part of that is wording like snatch, power snatch, clean and jerk, split jerks. Those are hard words to learn, but you might as well learn them because knowing them is pretty easy and it'll give you a deeper understanding of how the body moves on an Olympic level. And once you know that, you can transfer it into calisthenics and track work. And it'll actually help you understand the movements when we build other skills, right? So phase 3, that would be like weeks 15 to 40, days 99 to 280. Well, I would say that you're in the body composition Olympics at that point. Because you've done enough work in your nutrition and your fitness now that, you can actually start, if you're not injured, you can start to put together some goals about what is your optimal body composition. And parts of it should be completely vain. That's okay. If you've always felt that like the common one I run into is women feel that their butts aren't round enough, right? And that's interesting because, in the fascial connection from your sole of your foot to the base of your skull, most modern people have very underdeveloped glute fascia. They can't fire their glute muscles. And your glute muscles is just like a brilliant piece of, it's a counterbalancing tool. When you have a good sized glute on you, your core, it instantly makes your core twice as strong. So you imagine it like this. Okay, so everybody in this program has probably already put on with me, unless you're brand new, at least a pound of muscle in each glute. 1 pound, right? Some of you will end up putting on 2 or 2.5 pounds right in your glutes. And what that means is you developed your fascia in your glutes. And once you've developed your glutes, that's a huge win. That's like a huge, huge, huge win, because I saw this, and so I spent so long in CrossFit gyms, and you would see men and women come in with no glute muscles, no glute fascia left. And then you'd watch how long in doing Olympic lifting and calisthenics it took them to recapture their glute muscles again. And I'm telling you, some people, it takes them 2 years. 2 years. So that what that means is there's just lifts that they just can't really do effectively until that muscle's developed enough. It's a benchmark, right? You have to climb up that mountain to get a reward. So in phase 3, you want to be going after some of because you'd be early in an exercise program, which is a benefit because your biggest gains come in the first 2 years, right? The gains are going to come slower in years 3 and 4. So at the beginning, you can set the bar really high, right? You can say, okay, well, for example, another guy who's not on this call, he had a goal to do a pull-up, a strict pull-up. He said he had never been able to do one in his life. And he can now do 4 strict pull-ups at 61. And he was so shocked when the first time his chin got above the bar. But he didn't do any pull-ups for well over a year. We had a lot of other projects that had to get complete before we could do that one. But while we put the foundation in, we also set him up to be able to do a pull-up. So I would say in phase 3, for everybody to establish a couple different fitness goals that you have is a good idea. Because then if you tell me what they are, when I talk to you one-on-one, I can help you chip away at them. It's like time horizon chipping is that's what keeps you addicted to fitness for the long term, right? You're like, okay, I got a skill that took me 2 years to get. Okay, let's put another one in. For some of you, it might be really simple. So it could be to do a perfect planche push-up, right? And then I can send you some photos of what that looks like, and we can do them together over time, and it's easy to compare it. And it's a fun little fitness goal because you guys are already doing so much work that you might as well stack up some impressive feats into it. So in phase 3, I would focus on that. And then the milestones, celebrating every 4 weeks with a reward meal. That'll take us into the back half of the call some more, but that reward meal is important. What is it? How does it look? Where is it? Who is it with? And, getting into the routine of that's something I should really, really work on. If I do reward myself, it's generally in the dark by myself with cookies. Phase 4, that'd be a custom deep dive time. So, starting to run 21-day sessions in Penticton. So I have people who are going to come up and like, I think maybe I mentioned this on another call, but if you find yourself at a point where you're in cognitive decline, you hear the word dementia. It's like at that point, you would want to come and see me because, the life journey can get so emergency sometimes that you want to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. Basically, you're going to be doing ibogaine in front of a forest fire, not a forest fire, a beach fire, doing a lot of aqua therapy and a lot of circadian building work. But anyways, phase 4 is about a custom deep dive. And it's something I haven't really done with too many people yet. But it's also super necessary as you get towards the end of a year's journey, right? So in a year from now, because you need to do a deep dive on what you just did, what worked, what didn't, what you can improve, right? You're kind of optimizing your own self. Ultimately, all of you guys are athletes, right? And as athletes, you have to learn to advocate for yourself, understand your strengths and weaknesses, ask for help, and leave no stone unturned. Don't rely on your neurologist or me or your daughter or your son-in-law. Ultimately, learn to be your best advocate and learn to prioritize your long-term health goals, right? Look, I would say that on this call, we don't really have, on this call, we're in pretty good shape. Everybody's still quite strong. But on most of the calls I'm on with people, if I haven't met somebody you're on calls, you're often a little bit shocked how weak they are. Can't forget, everybody in this group is pretty durable at this time, but a lot of people out there are super weak, at risk of falling, right? And if you did a custom deep dive once a year and you measured your grip strength, right? At the end of this year, we're all going to be measuring our grip strength again. So make sure you're squeezing those damn things and maintaining, at your 90th percentile of where you should be at personally, right? I like to keep my grip strength at about a 140 or 150. I've trained it to a 170. It's just more squeezing than I like to do to maintain it at that number. But yeah, when you're going through your deep dives, you're just making sure that you've done everything, that you're on the right track, that you're gaining in independence, not losing in independence, right? Because then, you're paying attention to, well, we're kind of ready to jump into the next sheet, which I really want to get into because it's on carbohydrates. Rethinking carbohydrates. I'm excited about this one. Okay, so in the previous sheet, we learned that we're going to be eating animals 95% of the time. Okay, well, what the hell is 5% of the time mean? In our body rebuild, carbohydrates aren't evil, just massively overused. They're a rare tool for reward and balance. We advocate consuming carbs in just 3 to 5% of your total yearly meals, treating them as dopamine boosters on long time horizons. This flips the script from carb-heavy diets, emphasizing ketosis and autophagy, which we all know about. Carbs become milestones, not daily defaults, fostering discipline and metabolic flexibility. Again, this is a super crucial one because the people who achieve the most ketosis achieve the most healing. I see that. That's the 100% the truth. Let's break down the math. Assuming 3 meals per day, that would be just over 1,000 meals annually. At 3%, you get about 33 carb-inclusive meals per year. At 5%, it's roughly 55. Spread evenly, that's 2 to 3 times monthly for the lower end, or 4 to 5 times for the higher end. But life isn't uniform. Factor in birthdays and holidays where sugar often sneaks in. Consider 10 major US holidays a year. That is, I don't have to say, New Year's, Valentine's, Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, Thanksgiving. Christmas, plus a few like Labor Day, Memorial Day, and one birthday. That's 11, potentially 11 to 22 meals if each spans 1 to 2 sittings with treats, right? To stay within limits, allocate half your carb quota to these, say 16 to 28 meals. And this leaves 17 to 27 free carb meals yearly. Use holidays for cultural carbs. That's okay. Pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. Birthdays for reward meals. The rest tied to achievements like post-fasting treats or quarterly goals. This math ensures carbs enhance joy without derailing ketosis. Quick little talk about the science in carbs. So I've experienced this. I believe it to be true. I've read about this and have tested it. Carbs aid sleep through neurotransmitter pathways. So, man, the problem I have is when I get into long periods of ketosis, I start to worry that I'm running too hot. Like I'm awake at 4 a.m. and I'm awake at 11:30 at night. And it's like, unless I'm just going to go sit by the lake and twiddle my thumbs, mostly I'm just working out and working and taking care of kids from the time I get out of bed to the time I go to sleep, right? So sometimes I get not physically or mentally worn out. I get bored of productivity. And I've noticed that when I eat carbohydrates, it lulls me it lets me. So if I haven't eaten carbs for a month and then I eat 7 or 8 chocolate chip cookies and a glass of milk, that I feel quite relaxed for about 2 or 3 days because of that dopamine rush, right? So it's an interplay between dopamine and cortisol. It's different. It takes a lot of habitual ketosis activity to really figure that out. And I haven't completely yet. Very few people have, in fact, on Earth. Very, very few. It's a life goal of mine. So we know that if we're going to go from ketosis to carbs, that we're probably going to get a good sleep. Yeah, if we overeat on pizza and stuff, we probably won't. When I'm talking about carbs, I'm talking about like dairy, fruits, dark chocolate. I'm not talking about no breads. Breads is ultimately in the hierarchy of carbs. I'm a believer that sugar before flour. I try to really avoid flour. So that's me. That might be a little bit different for everybody. Tryptophan crosses the blood-brain barrier, converting to serotonin and melatonin, the sleep hormone. 2016 study in advanced nutrition showed carb-rich evening meals increase REM sleep and reduce wakefulness. Okay, so I've tested that one thoroughly in an RV, I was in as close to a scientific experiment as you could get. And that's true, but then it's a drug in the system. And very quickly, the anxiety, because if you're eating more than 500 calories of carbohydrates, personally, that increases my baseline anxiety level. Carbohydrates for me and anxiety hand in hand. Like I've already eaten my lifetime supply of carbohydrates, and I did that in 35 years, right? So I'm fried on carbs too. We are all fried on carbs to some degree. So we understand that carbohydrates, even when we eat them, fermented veggies, right? Like we're eating healthy, good carbs that aren't going to really crash us. There's a lot of healthy ice cream. Sugar's brain benefits stem from dopamine surges. Glucose fuels neurons, but refined sugar triggers the mesolimbic pathway, releasing dopamine in the nucleus accumbens. Elevates mood, motivation, and focus temporarily. In moderation, it mimics achievement highs, reinforcing habits like our program's long-term goals. Oxytocin release during sweet shared meals builds social bonds, reducing stress. That's true. So my second daughter, her name is Sequin, and she's such a incredible, unique person. She's so smart, and when I'm fasting, she would call me and say, "Dad, can we go out for lunch?" And then I would go, but I would say, well, I'm sorry, I can't eat with you. I'm fasting. And that really bothered her. And at the time, I was like, well, why is she taking this personally, right? But then I realized it was quite important to her. And then I read about this and I was like, oh, you know, she's getting, I'm withholding dopamine when I don't eat with her. So then I called her up and we went out for lunch and I bought cheesecake with her because that's a bonding activity that she's used to do with her dad, right? So when I withheld it, I was literally withholding dopamine from her. So yeah, it becomes kind of interesting because you know, Bill's doing carbs once a month. Everybody's on some type of carb frequency. And I certainly really hope so that for everybody, it's not an easy thing to optimize. It takes a couple of years to optimize it for sure. But I hope everybody gets it optimized eventually. And I would describe it that when it's optimized, your body composition is you're very impressed with it. You feel that your body looks great and you know it's working as well as it should within the restrictions of PD, right? Of course. So I kind of hope that that's how we can think about carbohydrates, and that's how I try to think about them. And it gets kind of interesting when you see, you know, basically you can eat carbs 2 or 3 times a month. Now, I would recommend once a month as probably the optimal carbohydrate schedule. I would say it's like the full moon, right? We get a hormonal rush from the full moon as if you've been married to a crazy woman like I have, you know that the full moon is a real deal on definitely female hormones, also male to some extent, I would guess. So, you know, if you're in line with that, I would say if you could do carbs once a month, but with the caveat that there's some of you with your metabolism is going to get so efficient that I think Bill's going to get there first, probably. A couple of Guy will probably get there too. There's a few people who will get there. Jen could probably get there too, where you can actually be in ketosis 95% of the time, but you can actually eat carbs like 3-4 days a week. There's certain metabolisms that I've seen have achieved that. And that's a good spot to be in, right? That's not a bad spot to be in. Ultimately, you have to base it on your level of ketosis. So those are those 2 PDFs now. I'm going to stop talking and drink some water. And if you guys have any questions at all for me, then I'm free for you.
Well, your metabolism, we talked about metabolism changing, becoming more adapted, able to keep in ketosis. Is that what you mean? Though, like eventually we will all become, because I find it really hard, you know. I'm shocking. I can't have any carbs. Even without carbs, even with an egg once a day, you know, I go to ketosis.
Yeah, you're a unique case, but I think really with you, Gavin, I'm looking to see it change because it's going to be evidence that the underlying systems in the body are changing. Guy went through a similar thing, and he just did his fast, and he was in deep ketosis. But so yeah, we want to fully exploit all of our ketone pathways. We want to build as much ketone pathways in our brain as possible. So not only do we need to be in ketosis, we're going through a whole bunch of different range of motion exercises in ketosis, right? I don't think I mentioned it, but like, here's something alarming, but it's true, so I'll tell you something I learned. So, you know, I was on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday schedule with the doctor who went through this first. And several times I watched in the first year what would happen when he arrived on Thursday, but he'd eaten carbohydrates for 1 or 2 days before. He'd had a glass of wine. There was one time in the first year, I think he actually had like a scotch and a glass of wine, maybe 2 glasses of wine. So he had a small amount of alcohol, right? But I can tell you that each time I saw him, I saw regression, not progression. Like I saw that we were a little bit further behind again, and it would take another week or two of cleansing him and to get him back to where he was again. So we lost ground specifically from, like a weekend of carbohydrates, right? There's been, I'll say it like that. With him, there was at least 3 times I saw him do a weekend of carbohydrates, and it took us 2 weeks to recover again. Yeah.
Because
So,
that's
Gavin?
the funny. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me just finish. Did I answer that
Yeah.
good enough for you, Gavin?
I think so. Basically, the net effect is that we will do. It will improve. We hope.
I haven't seen anybody not go through a big spectrum of ketosis that is a super unpredictable. It's it's some of the most complicated stuff happening in our body, right? Like it's like there's a whole cascade effects from ketosis that, as far as anybody knows, it's basically like the longer you're in it, the more beneficial it is to your organs and stuff, right? So in the first year, the first year is so messy and muddy coming off of carbohydrates. That's true even if people who don't have PD. It was true for me. Body composition, like basically think about it like this. After I adapted myself into ketosis, which took me 2.5 years, all of my athletic achievements got at least 5% better, almost like overnight. And I tested this out with guys I used to work out with. Like my running times got faster. The amount of push-ups I could do at once got met, or I could jump further. And that's like, it's actually mind-blowing because like it just flies completely in the face of all Western exercise science over the last 100 years, right? They're just completely carbohydrate dependent. And it works with the PD. It's like that ketosis, that's that flywheel that we're trying to spin long term, right? And see how good of a job we can doing it. The more we spin it and the more the more complex skills, movement skills we add to it, the better off we are. But go ahead now, Bill Jensen.
Oh, I'm on day 9 and no carbs, and today was the first day I saw solid ketosis. So to your point, it's so unpredictable. But to me, that's a great deterrent, not to do it. Today I went to a birthday party. I saw all the chocolate, I saw all the cake, but there was no way I was doing it. So it gives me so I'm glad it's not always easy to get in, because then you let up a little bit.
But the other thing is, it doesn't even mean that you're not in it. It just means that it's your body's so efficient, it's barely dumping any energy into the urine because it doesn't need to.
But I'm taking blood tests.
Yeah, take a blood test, but your body, Bill, your body is planning how many squats, push-ups, and pull-ups you're doing tomorrow, and it knows.
Yeah.
And
so for Bill, the urine test is not necessarily accurate because he's efficient, but for me, I'm doing a blood test. That's accurate.
Exactly.
And I still know I'm in it. Like I said, I'm glad that I don't see it on paper, because it even discourages me from even thinking about messing up, which I'm not going to. But there's a way to turn it into a positive, I think, anymore.
Yeah. You can also think about it real simple. It's just the fuel you're putting in your car. And, the experiment that we're running, it's not even an experiment. We know it to be true. The science is behind it. And it's also, if you're not eating carbohydrates, you guys are all working out. Your body's burning it. and you'll see your composition changing body. Like the body is efficient, man. It's so hyper efficient. It's incredible. And you know, try to burn off when, like, for example, when you burn off the fat by your belly button, if you have it, that's like, it's like a metabolic riddle to solve that takes people months or years, right? It's a difficult thing to do. It's just as hard as PD, but you imagine that because it's your deepest body, it's your energy reserves, it's your cortisol levels, everything has to get, the more you get optimized, the better your body composition is.
And the higher energy. I literally
energy.
I never run out of energy. Yesterday I had an all-day class and I haven't sat for a long time. My energy level was just as good. I was attentive. I definitely attribute that to the carnivore diet. Another thing I've done is I finish my meals earlier in the day. Like I was done eating by 12 o'clock today.
Wow. Wow.
One day I was done by 7:30 and my energy was
Bill,
great.
the rate of your words has increased.
Oh, I know. I, and it's the thinking too. I feel very sharp. When they talk about dementia with Parkinson's, it doesn't even scare me a little.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting better and better. Memory is getting, I remember names better. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. So, and I definitely attribute that to a lot of eggs.
Yeah. That's incredible.
But it is incredible. And I'm so glad that I am a carnivore. And I have a hard time recommending because of cholesterol. But even with the cholesterol, as much research as I've done, cholesterol is not bad. It's just demonized. It's about being insulin sensitive, which I have no doubt I am.
Yeah, for me, cholesterol is such a psyop. Like it's a lipid, it's a fat,
I've got to
right?
jump off. Sorry, I'm going to join the recording.
All right,
Watch the
buddy.
recording later.
All right, Gavin. Well, that's with the fat, the cholesterol, you want the perfect fat, as much of it as you can get. It's the wall of your cell. It's your sex hormones. And like I'll just be, I know everybody here, like ketosis and your sex hormones, like your testosterone and stuff, it's just a completely different map. And like I notice in ketosis that it's like it's actually important to feel all these things because we've been in carbs. Like I went through puberty eating Ichiban and cereal, right? And it's a complete, like when you feel a high fat diet in your body, you can actually feel how it, like it's not on a mental level, on a physical level it supports you. It makes you feel your sexuality different. For as a man, when you get erections and how you get them, they're much more physical, less mental. In carbohydrates, like a lot of sexual activity, it's like you're going to go out for pizza and have wine, it's kind of a mental activity. But like your sexuality level in your body in ketosis, it's like it it's a really hard, I felt it and I've been thinking about it for a while, but it's a hard thing to, but, and I'm not saying it like a scientist, oh wow, because it's sexuality. Be all the systems, like for example, when I had terrible seasonal allergies from 10 to 30 to 41, right? 42 when I did that high meat. And then you feel that come back out of the system. And, so ketosis, there's really, really something true to the long-term healing effects of it that people start to unravel. And I've felt that. Bill's feeling it right now. And again, it's like I know Guy, he's like, your first year, you might not get very far. And it almost gets more amazing after several years, right? Because you can kind of feel a difference in a lot of the different systems in your body, like your sex hormones, your histamine levels, your smell, your taste, your fingernails, right? So yeah, interesting stuff. Real interesting. Thank you so much, Bill. Yeah, you're looking just jacked beyond belief.
I
Just
feel great. I do. I'm total believer, but what I love is it gives you hope. And you say, stay on the straight and narrow. Because I'm on day 213 of carnivore. So I'm like a little over the 6 months. And you're not feeling like perfect yet.
yeah,
But I still am like saying, I'm doing this. And I'm thrilled that I've stuck to it, that it hasn't been difficult for me. And like you brought up earlier, how much better my voice is.
yeah,
So it's like small little gains get you very excited.
yeah. It's just such a like when I met you, you were doing your voice exercises, right?
Yes.
And the voice and the speech when I very first met you, that was something that I remember. I was like, oh, okay, this is like one of his symptoms, right? And
Yeah.
but then like from when I met you, you've been in ketosis a lot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it spins up that healing faster, right? He was already healing it with the exercises he was doing, but all the ketosis he did compounded it. Ketosis offers a compounding effect in the body, whether it's through muscle mass, voice, sex hormones, everything can perform better and stronger. The hardest
But
part is just optimizing that schedule and
yeah.
sticking to it for the long term. That's the hardest part about it.
Yeah, but mentally it helps me too. When I see it turn red, it's like, even I wasn't discouraged before because I know I'm doing all the right things, and my body knows that. So
Yeah.
it's like, but seeing it turn redder today, I have to say, I'm like, yes,
Yeah. Wow. Well done, Bill. Proud of you.
I think.
Does anybody else want to go or ask questions or anything you guys want?
Lars, it's
Yeah.
Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
I have a problem when I'm in ketosis that I don't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
How do I fix that? Because I'm scared of ketosis because of that.
This is the hardest. This is the hardest issue I deal with. It's the constipation aspect, and he's not on the call tonight. But there's a guy I coached, and he had to get a male nurse with a finger up there to decompact it. So what we
I'm
did
not
for
that
him?
way. I'm not that way.
What
If
way
I
are
start
you?
eating, when I start eating carbs, I have all this poop. I just poop and poop and poop, but it's not tight. It's loose.
Oh yeah.
It's normal. But when I'm in
Well,
ketosis, I don't go to the bathroom. I don't
okay.
poop.
So when you say I don't go to the bath, so understand that it can be normal not to go for a long time. It depends how much you're eating. So there is a difference between not going and going very slowly. So first you
Okay,
got
I
to
don't
unpack
go.
at all. No rabbit turds.
The last time when I was in ketosis for like, I think 21 days, I pooped on like the 21st day, something like that. 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks in, I pooped.
Okay, and when you went, was it painful coming out?
No, it was soft, not hard, not runny, normal. I would say normal poop. But
So
then I
I would,
had that, then I
yeah,
started eating carbs and I pooped enough for, 5 people in one day.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't under, I'm scared of that whole going to the bathroom thing.
So your gut microbiome, it replenishes every 3 days. So if you're on a bad, like for example, if you're on a bad schedule of eating, you want to know how to get fat fast. just eat the carnivore diet and the Western diet at the same time.
I do that.
Because if you do that, you can actually legitimately put on like 2 pounds a day doing that. Like maybe more. It can actually be phenomenal because then you've got you're high fat, high protein, high carb, and there's only one direction from there, right? But yeah, so you pay attention to your gut health, your gut microbiome. It replenishes every 3 days, right? So you want to get real steady with it, and you want to see if you can encourage it a little bit faster. So so you went poo after 21 days, and then you were probably scared to do it again.
I was.
Yeah. So then when you're scared to do it again, you want to go, you go 2 days carnivore and then add some fermented veggies in. And then pay attention to, okay, I went on the 21st. How much nutrients am I putting in my body before the next bowel movement? You can be guaranteed one's coming. I
would hope so.
It's
and
coming.
Like I said,
but
it's not that they're hard. It's just they're not happening.
They're coming, but it's like you guys have heard me talk about the fasting time horizon from hour 24 right up to the point that we fast our muscles off, right? That's our spectrum we're dealing with. Well, with the constipation, it's like from day one right up until you have to go to a Spanish nurse to decompact your sphincter. So that's where we don't want to get to, right? So you just pay attention to it. And if you add enough fat, right? So you kind of be real careful when you come out of your fast and you start eating protein again, and you pay attention to it and you say, I'm going to try to eat, like a high fat diet, butter in my coffee, butter in my steak, like a scoop of butter here and there,
Okay.
Lots of fat. And then what should happen with that is if you do, I've done this and I've overdosed on fat and it resulted in, so I did this recently. I did it in, I think it was December. I did this. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this fat diet right to the extreme. So for 5 or 6 days, I just constantly ate butter and fat. And after 5 or 6 days, man, I didn't tell anybody this, but I actually had diarrhea to the point I started to get nervous. I'm like, is this going to stop? I'm eating normal again. And so, but you look at the timeline of the gut health, 3 days, I had diarrhea for 10 days after. And, so when you radically affect the gut, what I'm saying is there's a lag. It's got like the gut has a natural lag to it, right? And understanding that lag is difficult. So with that lag, you want to see what happens when you go 3 nights in a row with just a little bit of fiber, right? A little bit of fermented veggies. And then it's like I say, avoid salt, right?
I do that. I don't use salt at all.
Yeah,
Of course,
avoid salt. Drink a lot of water. And then the other component to this is, if I was really, truly afraid of it, I'd be sitting down in the Asian squat. When you change a baby's diaper and you take its knees and put its knees on its chest, sometimes poop squirts out, right?
Right, of course.
So it clearly has a positive downward pressuring effect on the bowel system. And from there, Joanne, you're just trying to get rid of the fear behind it, right?
Yeah.
Because the gut health will change. It's a highly dynamic environment. It's got billions of bacteria, and it's replenishing every day. It's in constant feedback with your brain, constant feedback. It's preparing for the next meal, right? That's why when you have sugar in your stomach, the first few days after are misery, because the brain, that bacteria is just screaming for sugar.
With mine, I only have to go once a week, but I'm not really worried about it because I don't have any problems when I go. They look healthy. So
That's ancestrally
I would
clean.
say this, I
yeah,
would say the same thing.
That's
Yeah.
ancestrally clean. We are not meant to have to put. I used to have this thought all the time, like, man, what did they do before toilet paper? You know, like I'm drinking 2 cases of beer a week. I'm going to the bathroom 15, 16 times a week. I'm like, without
yeah,
toilet paper, I wouldn't even be a functioning human being,
yeah.
right? I'd be a mess, man. So on the ancestral diet, you're not pooping every day. That's common. The body's and Bill is like a model of efficiency right now, right?
Okay, and he's
He's
saying
barely
he does it once a week.
he's pooping every 10 days. He's barely even dumping ketones into his urine. Yet he's maximum energy. So
Every day. I never have a crash. That's why I just want to scream this diet from the rooftops. Not that
exactly.
anybody's going to listen.
That he has so much energy, he wants to scream it from the rooftops.
Well, the first half hour. Well, one thing I'm trying to do is get at least one 30-minute walk every day now. It
Yeah.
has to be 30 minutes. So I've done 4 of them today.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You were talking about working themselves too much. I feel like I've got, like Rocky said, or Clubber Lang said, I got a lot of mo, got a lot of mo. I mean, but another thing I do is I make sure I get to bed at 8:15 because my first client's at 3:40 in the morning, so I get up at 3:15. But every day I'm writing down my sleep score. My sleep score last night was 89.
Wow.
So I'm focusing on my sleeping, making sure that 8:15 stinks to go to bed, but I'm happy to do it because I just think getting healthier, getting healthier.
The future's burning with bright ketone gas energy coming out of you. That
And
ketones, man, ketones. That's why they demonized it with they demonized fat with the cholesterol argument. And my own family went through that at levels I could talk about for hours because my mom fell for it hard and she got all of us tested. And it was like, they did genetic testing to see which kids had the high cholesterol gene. And I remember the day my mom came home and she goes, I'm the youngest of 4. They said, well, there's 3 of the kids have the gene. This is in like the 90s. My mom went off the wall on this stuff. That's how hard they demonize cholesterol.
yeah,
We got these blood tests done at the doctor, and yeah, three of my siblings, they said, have high cholesterol. They demonize your cholesterol is too high. Put them on statins, and now all my siblings are on statins, and this is a complete and total psyop. You want if you eat a high fat diet, you get optimal cellular structure over time.
I agree.
That's
I'm
the
getting
root.
metabolically healthy.
Yeah. As your cells change, your organs feel different. But then it's not smooth sailings. There's another lady not on the call tonight, but she like the ketosis heart murmur. Have you guys felt that? So like, I remember there's a period, I think in year 1, where every time I laid on my left side, I could feel my heart beating, and it was kind of nerve wracking. Anyways, there's a lady I coach. She was feeling that. And she went to the doctor, and they're like, "No, your heart's totally healthy." But she's like, "Why can I?" She's like, "I can feel my heart beating. It's stressing me out." That's ketosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Okay.
Anybody else? There he is, Delbert. Are you snapping your fingers for me, bro? Wait, I gotta unmute you, Delbert. But I don't know which phone there. There you are. Oh, you're still muted.
Okay, now. Okay, I don't think I'm in ketosis very often, Lars, but I definitely had that heart murmur.
Yeah.
I definitely had that heart thing yesterday. And just to to comment in Joanne there when she says she can't poop. I was at that stage too where I wasn't pooping for 10 days, and I've since started eating beef tallow, and that's like unbelievable stuff for me anyway. I'm like I lift my feet up like the Hunsa people do when I'm to go into the bathroom. But raise your feet up 6 inches from the floor.
Yeah.
And that seems to it makes a difference for me. So now I'm pooping I don't 2 days or 3 days, like I am. I have a bowel movement every 3 days, it seems like it, which is good. So I'm not scared to go to the bathroom.
Whoa.
But yeah, I don't know where I'm at on ketosis. I can't seem to get to the red.
I think you're getting efficient, and I think you're gonna go. I think you're gonna go periods where it's not like that, and just don't focus on the day. Just focus on keeping those carbs light, and maybe we get over focused on the keto strips, and not enough focus on actually feeling the differences in it's like your body's burning fat. We know that, right? It's not getting enough carbs otherwise. So I think you're doing good.
I think I've gained some weight now, buddy. I was at 160. Now I'm at 168 or something like that.
Oh, good. I was about to ask you if you're
I
getting
don't weigh
ready for
myself
another
every
fast.
day. I don't weigh myself every day, but I'm getting. Yeah, I want some one-on-one coaching here, Lars. You'll have to give me another diet of just eggs and steak and eggs. I mean, it's the weekend. Weekends are bad for me because I'm like Steve Porter. The weekends, the stuff just comes on in droves. Yeah. Like I eat way too many carbs. I mean, I eat.
Take next weekend off.
What? Don't eat?
Don't eat any carbs.
Okay, well, I try. Steak and eggs.
Something I do is like, if I have a ribeye on the counter.
Yeah, you ferment it.
Well, no, it's like if there's a ribeye on the counter, it's got to be eaten. And if there's a ribeye in the fridge, it's ready to go to the counter. And you just focus on that process like nothing else. And then you just start, like, you also get to a point in this program, on this journey, where it's like, it's not a program, it's not coaching. There's also a period where you kind of just rebel from carbohydrates, and you realize how evil they are and how much they're foisted upon you. And you kind of like, that's what got me through year one. I was just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Year two, I was like morally opposed to carbohydrates in my life. I would refuse them. Everybody thought I was completely freaking crazy. But it's like, where you're at, Delbert, you're right in plateau land. You're about around the 6-month mark in. You can get into a plateau, and it's normal. So enjoy the plateau, because everybody usually after plateaus, people encounter a slightly more rigid eating system again.
So I'm only at 120 days max. 4 months in.
Yeah, that's plateau land. You get the early gains, and then you get into plateau land, and you kind of got to start assessing things in a different way. But the best way to assess them is to get into a growth hormone fast and put a bunch of routine into it with cold water, break it with, got this way, like, you break the fast with fat for a day, a couple of shots of beef suet, and then you have a fermented roast ready to go. It's 5 pounds of it, and it's just on your counter, and you just start slicing off slices of it in the morning and see how long it takes you to eat through a 5-pound roast. and you put the calendar aside and don't worry about the weekends. But yeah, next week I'll do a call with you and we'll plan it out.
Yeah, I have to get my wife on board to do a fermented
I'm
roast.
ready
Yeah,
to talk to Rebecca again, in fact.
yeah. Ready, yeah. Well, now, like, yeah, we're like I mentioned earlier, what was happening at my house today.
Yeah.
So it'll be better now, and it better
Well,
be
you have a
better.
bedroom you can turn into a gym,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Turn that.
yeah,
You got an extra bedroom now, don't you?
yeah. No, I will
Oh
have
my
the
God,
whole
I would be
basement
down
now.
there tonight hanging Rocky posters on the wall
Yeah, but
and
I'm like,
put my kettlebells down there and go treat yourself to. And another trick I do when sometimes I lose exercise motivation, I'm just mailing it in. Then I go buy myself either a new T-shirt or a new exercise tool. Sometimes you got to use a little shopping motivation, a little consumption to kind of re-energize workout routines. I've been trying to work out intensely now for 6 years, and you can feel a natural ebb and flow in the system for sure. It's normal. Yeah.
okay, so I shouldn't knock myself out too much if I can't get into keto.
No, just focus on
And
the movements. You focus on those jumps right now, bro. Get
yeah,
those
like
you get
I
those
feel like,
feet tap dancing. You're not too far gone not to really recapture it at some dramatic levels. And you're doing the right thing. Just keep tap dancing up and down that hallway.
yeah, but like I'm not a high number on my burpees. Not a high number
You
guy
are.
on my
How many
burpees.
could you do? How many could you do 4 months ago?
Oh, 3 or 4.
And how many do you do now?
Well, 20,
Yeah, you
20,
five.
25.
You, yeah, you're
So,
you're
but
doing very well.
I'm not jumping up and down. Like, I mean, I'm the old guy that climbs up like standing up one knee at a time.
Yeah, it'll come. It'll come, Delbert. I
Okay,
wouldn't
it'll come.
if I didn't believe. I believe that you're going to do a type 1 burpee someday. I too truly.
type type
I
one
do.
burpee. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
that'll
type
be good.
1, 2s, and 3s, right? Yeah,
Well, I'm
you'll have
proud.
a type 1. You're on a type 3 burpee now. You'll be at a type 1 burpee at some point. You'll get there.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes me feel so much better.
You will,
That
sir.
makes me feel so much better. But yeah,
The,
that
the
beef
day,
tallow
if you
beef
want the
tallow
day
makes
to
a
come,
difference.
if you want the day to come faster, not slower, you just maximize ketosis and be stubborn as a mule.
Just eat steak and eggs, eh? And
Just freaking
sardines.
recomposition that body. Listen, it sounds simple, but don't forget, all of us have decades of toxic food buildup in our systems. Decades of it. All of
Yeah.
it. All of us. I'm going to
Yeah,
let
my wife.
Guy has a question next.
Yeah, we'll let him go. I just figured with Joanne talking there about that she's scared to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom. I should tell her that if you I mean it was like I talked to Lars about this. I was cold in the mornings. Like I was cold all the time. And so then
Yeah.
I started taking beef tallow, and man, that stuff is like it heats your body up from the inside out.
It heats your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's
Feel
awesome,
great
Delbert.
now. Feel great. I feel great, but it's like I just can't get into ketosis, but steak and eggs it is this week.
It's too cold out. You're just burning it off. It's not dumping into your urine. Urine ketosis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I don't feel so bad now.
All right, let's let Mr. Guy Lister go. I'm just going to get you to unmute, Guy.
Yeah.
There it is.
Here it is. So I feel like it's enough of achievement for me not to eat chocolate chip cookies, but not to be able to eat like whole milk yogurt and some arugula. I'll go crazy. So if I eat some arugula, is that going to knock me out of ketosis?
You just got into your highest level, didn't you?
Yeah, in the
And
morning.
You're in it today?
This morning I was. Yeah, I've been out all day, so I haven't tested myself.
You should test it one more day. Test it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And then on the third night, have a tablespoon of arugula and then test it again the next day. There's your baseline.
Hmm.
See what what a tablespoon of it does.
Well, I had some yogurt last night and it didn't knock me out of ketosis.
Yeah. Yeah, you're lean and mean. You have a fast metabolism. Are you getting faster and stronger these days? Are you feeling like that?
I've been doing a lot of squats.
Yeah.
I've
How's
been
your leg
doing,
feeling?
I've been doing them 3 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think I'm getting stronger.
That heavy squatting is guaranteed to increase your baseline testosterone level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another flywheel effect in the system, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'm always like wondering, like, if because I put as a treat at night, I put cacao powder in my coffee, in my decaf coffee. I only drink decaf coffee. I'm trying to figure out. I'm always trying to figure out ways to, like, because I mean I could mainline ice cream and chocolate chip cookies. I mean I could do that every night. I mean I used to do it every night.
Yeah.
But so now I'm trying to figure out, like, how many grams of carbohydrates can I get away with each day without knocking myself out of ketosis?
Simple. Get a blood ketone monitor, get a tub, get yourself deep into ketosis, buy a tub of ice cream, and then every night take a tablespoon of ice cream, measure it the next day, and you'll quickly understand. And then you can do the same thing with cookies. You'll see a difference.
I'm at this point in the game. I'm banned from cookies and ice cream. I'm afraid to even try. I don't want to mess around with that anymore. If I can eat some arugula and eat some yogurt and some walnuts, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to knock me out of ketosis.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard about, so lots of people start basically supplementing with nuts. And I think you got to be careful with it.
Walnuts?
I think, yeah, like just like you said, like you're already sacrificing chocolate chips and ice cream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if the walnuts were then taking you out of ketosis, you would be sacrificing the ice cream and chocolate chips for nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I would pay, yeah, but you're in deep ketosis right now. So keep doing what you're doing, keep measuring it. Probably get a blood ketone monitor. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Guys, I have a kid to pick up in 10 minutes. I'm sorry everybody didn't get a chance, but you guys can stay on if you'd like, but I have to go and pick a kid up.
All right. Hey, thank you guys.
Thanks, Lars. Thanks
Yeah.
for your time, Lars.
We'll see
I'm
you guys.
having-
We'll see you guys tomorrow for the workout, and I'll try to catch everybody for a 1v1 this week out. And still waiting on that email from Apple, but Apple's been a nightmare to deal with. But that app will be live soon, so have faith, stay with me, and I can't wait to train with you guys tomorrow. And let's just get into some more deep ketosis this week. And we're in our first month of February. Things are looking up. Doesn't matter what we did yesterday. Let's just move the needle forward tomorrow.
I like the first month of February. That's good.
Yeah, it's a short, quick month here, and we'll stack it up. All right, guys.
Bye.
And,
Thank you.
and it's all good. It's all good.
It's all good.